Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Creator Notes podcast, the podcast hosted by me, Zombies Love Bacon, where we talk to creators about all things content and creating. Today, we are joined by the one and only Drew Sunn. Hello, Drew.
That's me.
That is,
Hi.
yeah. Hi.
Hey,
Welcome onto the show. I think this is the first time,
thanks for
like,
having me.
outside of like streams and content and stuff, I've actually just talked. Um,
Well, I
you
mean,
know, yeah.
this is also content,
I
but
mean,
like,
it's technically, yeah, but it's a podcast. It's a different thing. Different
okay,
thing.
yeah, sure.
Don't worry about it. It's fine. We'd like to start off with just a couple of things. We just to get started. Drew is your name.
Yes.
And this is what you. I know that we've.
I mean, Andrew technically, but like, yeah, it's
Oh
yeah,
yeah. Okay. Yeah. Cool. So because a lot of people they'll be like, oh, what's the history behind your name? Where'd you come from? Where'd you get started and stuff like that? Because obviously, your answer to that, because I see it all the time, is it's the name I was given.
yeah. So Drew Sun is shortened versions of both my first and last name.
Oh, okay. So yeah,
Yeah,
and
so
I
like,
mean,
it's just my name.
yeah,
I go by that more often than anything nowadays. So it's like it just is my name.
yeah, yeah. I
Yeah.
like it. It keeps it simple.
hmm
I have too many names. it's
That's
it's
kind of the
becoming a real
idea
problem.
of it, you know? Like, so I'm a analytics nerd, right? So like me looking at what works when branding stuff, like there's kind of like two tracks you can take really when it comes to like real good branding,
Yeah,
right? Either you go the gamer name, which is completely fine. You know, there's nothing wrong with that. You go
yeah,
the gamer name or you go the real name. Like that's very much my view of how it is. Most streamers choose the gamer name, which
yeah,
makes sense. Twitch is a gaming site. All of us had gaming names at one point. You know, I was Insano, and now the chat now viewers know. Like
yeah,
we all had a gaming name. Um, there's a very select few that didn't. You know, but I think that the absolute best branding that you could possibly go for is something that is just a real name. It doesn't need to be your real name, but something that looks like a real name,
right,
or
okay.
something that's going to resonate with somebody. You know?
So I should call myself like Max Steel or something like that. It's obviously not my real name, but it's a
Jam.
name.
Yeah,
It's a
yeah, yeah.
real name.
Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of agree. I had a like I've when I started like the Zombies Love Bacon brand, it was like this is the community, and we're a bunch of people, and we do silly antics and blah blah blah. But then everyone decided they could kind of do it their own way, and then it just became me left over. And I'm like, oh, it's still a good brand, so we'll just keep going with it. But like my gamer tag and my sort of identity, I guess, was Alardi for the longest time. So some people know me as Alardi, some people know me as Zombies Love Bacon, some people know me as many other names. I had a situation where Alardi and Zombies Love Bacon got invited to the one event. I'm like, well,
Oh,
that's both of me. It's like I couldn't figure out for the life of me like why one company, like it's the same event but it was two different companies. It's like why did one company call me Alardi and the other one's calling me Zombies Love Bacon, and it took me forever. And eventually on my website it says I'm a Lardy and Zombies Love Bacon, and someone's read that, and then someone else might have seen it on Twitter or whatever, and I literally was just like, this is too hard, this is a ridiculous problem to have. It's like just not being able to get my name right is a struggle. And you're right, if it was
I mean,
branding, if they
zombies
just
love bacon is simple. It's simple, like it resonates, like everybody gets it, you know.
yeah,
And
so
some people
people,
might call you a Lottie, but like for the most part, like I know you as zombies. I've
yeah,
always called you zombies.
and then I go out to like events and stuff like that and people yell out zombies. It's like, yeah, it's me.
I mean, yeah,
Until the zombie apocalypse happens, and then it's gonna be really confusing. So it's fine. But yeah, no, I respect it. Like I have the most boring fucking name, so I'll never go to like normal
I don't
name.
think it's
But
boring.
no, not zombies. My birth
Oh,
given name
gotcha.
is just like boring as batshit. So it's like, well, I didn't get an interesting name. But now that I think about it, I could just make up a better name and just go with that.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, so let's go. Let's rewind a bit. Obviously, I think when we first crossed paths, you were at Insano. And
We've known each other for 3 years now.
okay, all right, yeah,
At
no,
least
that
that's
sounds
when
right.
I followed.
Yeah, okay. I'm pretty sure I was playing Zelda.
Couldn't tell you.
I'm pretty sure. And yeah, and but like I suppose we should probably talk about this as well. Like most people that I know, and most people that I have sort of known for a long time, are creators from Australia. Um, and I know that a lot of people that I know you. And like, is there like, are you like a token Australian? Like, how does this work? Like, you just sort of found your way into like Australian communities and just never left, or
A
is it
few people
just
call me an honorary Australian.
honorary Australian? Is that like a compliment? Do you feel or?
I mean, I think so. I don't know. It started out with so I started in 2016. That's when I started making content, right?
Okay.
So like when I first started making it, uh I was in 2016 I was 17, right? I was 16, 17, right? I'm on the younger side. Not young, but because there's now people coming into content creation that are like young.
Young,
But like,
yeah.
you know, still I'm on the younger side, right? So around that time, it's like you're making content, you're in your parents' house, like I'm a shy little introverted kid. Those let's plays that I made back then, which we can talk about more later if you want, are some of the most depressing things that exist. I sounded like I wanted to die every single sentence, uh, which I was depressed. So back then, when I'm in my parents' house, I had to record at late at night. So that's when
Right.
that started. And then
Yep.
that went into streaming later. And then this is just kind of like the time slot that I was
You
like,
you fell into
uh,
the Australian time
all
zone.
yeah, like all my jobs always lined up where it's like this time slot worked, or it worked with school as well when that was still a thing, and like it always worked. And then as I was streaming this time, I don't know when it started, maybe like 2019 maybe. I started to meet all these like cool people, and
Yep.
not just Australians but also Americans, and not many from England or just general Europe, because a lot of those time zones don't line up here.
Yep. Yep.
But a lot of Aussies and Americans that were up late, and I was like, these are just the coolest people. Like these are the coolest. So it's like, why would I change? Outside of like moving an hour around somewhere,
Yeah,
why
yeah.
would I change my schedule when I can interact with all of these fucking sick people, you know?
Yeah, so because I always found it interesting because like for like Australian content creators, we kind of like if we want to be American time zones or European time zones, we're up all night kind of thing. Or getting up early and sort of streaming in the day. But like your time zone works great for me. It's always been like I finish work and I can jump into your stream and hang out. And it's usually every time I jump into your screen, I always met with probably pooping. It just seems to be a timing thing, but it's
Yeah.
it's still it's interesting that's kind of the times. I mean the internet's global. It's like there's no borders, so it's like you can be you know
Yeah.
which is nice. I feel like I've made friends with people all over the world that I consider friends that we talk all the time. Some are content creators, some are just gamers. It's great. But yeah, I always found it interesting how you sort of fell on it. That makes sense. If you just sort of if you're
Yeah.
up and active during our time zone, you're going to run into Aussies.
Yeah,
Um,
and then it kind of exploded when we did like a monthly Among Us game for a while, me and a couple other creators, a few other creators.
I did catch a few of those.
Um,
Yeah,
yeah, and that ended up with me meeting a lot more people that were Australian.
yeah,
But
yeah.
like, yeah, it just kind of happened, and like it's
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 cool.
fun. I like
Yeah.
it.
Do you have any plans to ever visit Australia? Come to the land down under?
Oh yeah, of course. I mean, like it's been a plan every year since like 2019, 2020. Like it's been a plan every year, but like that's a lot of money. And I'm a full-time
Yeah.
content creator. I have been for years. So it's like that's not I would like for it to be more in the cards.
Yep.
But like even the process to getting a passport is
It's
like
crazy.
insane
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. So we can dream though. We can always dream. So
I mean it will happen, but like
I mean, yeah, maybe a nice brand will fly you over or something. That'd be nice. You can always.
that'd be cool.
it's always the dream. I mean, it's the other way for me. I hope someone will take me to America and I don't have to pay for it. That'd be lovely. Because Jesus, yeah,
Dream
in this
come true.
economy. um, so going back to early stuff, like, and like I in most cases, like Insano was your previous, I guess, name and stuff like that. But is that when you started content creating, or were you like always doing content earlier, or a gamer, or like what's the early stuff, like the dawn of time kind of stuff for you? It's
I
like
started playing games when I was 4,
yeah,
with Ocarina of Time. Ocarina of Time was my first game. Um,
crazy. Yeah,
and that was when I was 4. And then that was a bunch of other N64 games as well. Like I played No Mercy. I
yep.
really liked a game called Rocket Robot on Wheels. Weirdly only has one wheel. It's by
Rocket.
Sucker Punch. It's one of Sucker Punch's games. It's
I don't
crazy
even
that
know
nobody
that
talks about this game. It's not great. It's not a great game, but like it's one of Sucker Punch's first games.
on the 64.
So like, yep,
Oh, okay. Oh,
yep.
I consider
So
myself a 64 aficionado, but now I feel like I've missed a chapter.
So it went
Interesting.
from that of like I've been playing games since I was 4, and then in like I don't know, 2011 or something,
Yep.
I started playing Call of Duty, and that's where I learned all my slurs and became a horrible human being.
As we all do.
Luckily,
Yep.
grew out of that one as it went on,
Yep.
um, and eventually in 2016, at this point, like the YouTube explosion has happened.
Yep.
People like at that point I've spent years watching creators that went from doing nothing let's plays to becoming somebody like PewDiePie, Markiplier, you name it, whatever the hell.
Yep.
All of them went from doing their let's plays on their crappy webcams and then came into something, right? So it's like I spent so long watching that, and I'm sitting here playing these video games anyways. At that point it wasn't just Call of Duty. I was like, I had a PC, I was playing more uh story based games always.
Yep.
And I went from in 2016, I pulled the trigger of like, I'm gonna be playing these games anyways. Why don't I just do something with it? So then I started making let's plays with Sony Vegas. Oh,
Oh,
and learned how to edit that way. Um, and hate that program, the worst
so
editing
do I.
program that exists.
Hate it. Hate it so
Yeah, it's
much.
horrible. So I made content for a while with YouTube let's plays that again not good. And then I was doing a thing where I recorded the entire Let's Play before I uploaded it, so that way I knew that it was finished and I could upload it.
Oh,
And then I came around to Hollow Knight, which is my favorite game.
yeah.
And I recorded about 40 hours of footage and ran out of hard drive space. And I was like, hey, maybe this YouTube thing's not going to work out. And I moved over to streaming. That was
Okay.
in I think that was in 2017, but I took a long break and didn't start until January 2018. So I've been making content for 8 years.
Yep.
I've been streaming for 6.
Okay. That's
And then
pretty.
eventually I went back to YouTube
Yeah.
with I did gaming news for I don't know, 2 or 3 years. And now I'm doing video essays
Yeah.
while
How
also
did you?
streaming.
Yeah. Well, while streaming, both doing both. How did you find like how did you find gaming news as a I don't know as a niche, I guess, for YouTube kind of thing? Because
I
I personally I loved your gaming news. I thought it was fantastic. Um, Mainly because some particularly some gaming news, they either haven't done their research, or like they just are regurgitating something they read somewhere else, and it's like, okay, I've already read this. This is no new information. I've wasted my time here. Where I felt like in your stuff, you would at least be like, hey, this is what's going on. This is what I've read about it. This is what I understand about it. And then in a few cases, you'd be like, I'm not going to explain it. Just go, this is the article. Go read it over there. And it's like, this is perfect. This is what I want. I just want someone to inform me of what's going on so I can get on with my day. And I thought it was really good. But I understand that it's time sensitive and it's a lot of work for stuff that basically goes out of date because news
yeah,
is
that's
news until it's
exactly
not.
it.
Yeah.
So
Um,
I've been watching gaming news forever. Like it's always been like a thing, and there was like a few key inspirations there. There was an old Destructoid show starring now IGN Max Scoville,
oh, yeah. Yeah.
and another person that I don't remember the name of, and I wish I did. But they did a show together for a while, and like I really liked that. And then after that stopped, I felt like nothing really scratched the itch in the same way. Um, I eventually found Kinda Funny, who I watch now. They're like my primary source of gaming news
Yep.
for myself personally, but that's like an hour-long podcast or more.
Yeah, it is.
So it's like, okay, so at this point, you're either going in and reading the articles yourself, right? Which is faster, but, like, then you're doing the process of scrolling through all of these, like, bullshit Kotaku articles that are just there to get clicks, which is that's fine, I get it, you gotta get money, you gotta make the articles, you gotta get clicks, I
Some of them
get
don't
it,
even have
but,
articles in
like
them. That's
yeah, but, like, at the same time, it's like you gotta scroll through all those to get to the real gaming news,
yeah.
or you can watch a podcast because that's really the only form that this exists in now,
Yep.
because long form content and we'll get to that more. Uh,
Yeah.
but so there needed to be something in the middle that wasn't an hour-long show and wasn't requiring you to scroll through the bullshit. So I made a show that was just a little bit more than the headline. It was basically a synopsis of the articles that I've read on this topic.
Yeah.
If you want more, go to the article. Now you know which one is the important one. So now go do that. I filtered out the bullshit.
Yeah.
But there was
Yeah.
a couple problems there. Number one, gaming news is incredibly competitive, and I can't fight against an IGN. That's not gonna happen. So
Yeah.
it's like so that was one aspect of it, and the second aspect is like you said, it's not grassroots content, which for those of you that don't know, that means content that is always relevant, something that is always uh, whenever somebody clicks it, it's going to be good for them
Yeah.
because it's news. Nobody wants to watch old. So that made it so that it was only good for like the first couple weeks in there. And then on top of that, it was short. It
Mm.
was 5 to 10 minute long videos. And that was okay when I started making them. But now YouTube very much prefers
Long film.
20 minutes or more of content.
Yeah.
I think that's because most people watch stuff on their TV nowadays.
Yeah.
I seen
Yeah.
that there's a stat floating around about that, but
It's
I don't
also
know.
there's so many things. Like the more we delve into it, and like I was reading a thing the other day, and I was saying that they like that because it's longer form stuff. It gets casted to different devices and stuff like that, and it's also sends to be on devices that don't have ad blockers on them, which seems to be probably
Yeah,
going to be number one at the moment for them, which makes sense. And like if you look at it, like TikTok, which is like the king of short form, you can put a 30-minute video on TikTok now. So like they're coming to long
yeah,
form as well.
it's
It's
just
so
vertical.
yeah, it's just vertical. Well, actually, you could just turn it sideways. You can watch it.
Sure, yeah,
Just no one does. I
yeah.
don't know why, but it's an option that people don't know about. So weird. But yeah, it's long form content seems to be. I don't like saying the meta, but it seems to be what is what is the new
Watch
hotness,
time
I
is king.
guess. Yeah, but like, I feel like we were on watch time was king a few years ago, and then when they said no shorts are king, and now we're back to watch time again. It's like,
There was a moment in time where a person named Fwiz was the lead of PlayStation of YouTube gaming, and that's when they started to bring in live streams,
oh
and live
yes, I
streaming
know.
started
Yep.
to kick up.
Yeah, yeah.
Then he left for, I think, NFTs.
Ugh.
Either way, yeah. So he left YouTube gaming, and when he left that, that's when streaming on YouTube basically stagnated,
Hmm.
and it hasn't really like they got a couple things here or there. Like I think they got gifting
Yeah.
for memberships after that, but like mostly like they haven't advanced,
Yeah.
which is a shame because they had a lot of momentum from him. And then
Yes.
after that happened and he left, that's when they started to prioritize shorts. But
That's
they're
right.
not utilizing shorts in the same way that TikTok is because shorts link to full videos, making you watch the full video. But most people don't do that. Most people just scroll and they're like, memes I found in the cum or whatever the
Or if
hell.
you
Like, I don't
if
know.
you're me, like I'm just gonna be perfectly blatantly obvious. I added an add-on to my browser to hide all the shorts because I was sick of them clogging up my subscription feed.
I mean, understandable.
It's like I like to like there's some channels where I love their long form stuff, but then they post 7 shorts a day as well, and I'm just like I don't want that in my feed.
That's unfortunately how it goes. And I I'm not
I
a
don't
fan of
see them
that
anymore.
either. I feel as though it's I feel as though it's low effort content most of the
It
time. It's just
is,
like,
yes, and like
yeah.
I know it's a common theme, and I really I feel for it at the moment because I like I've talked about this a couple times now, but like some of my just shittiest effort stuff is a couple shorts, but it's also my highest performing stuff, and I hate that. I want the stuff that I
Yeah.
spend more time on it to go really well. I don't want the stuff that I put up there just to make sure people know that I'm still alive to be the stuff that's going really well.
I
So
have a my summer car clip with like 40,000 something or maybe more now views on it. And it's like, I didn't even like the fucking game.
yeah.
I quit it like 10 hours in. Like
I
it's
have my new Tales of the Borderlands clip that is like the lowest boring effort I've ever done. 6.1 million views.
yeah.
And then I'm like, and not only that, like 15,000 subscribers. And I'm just like, what? Are you guys interested in this game? And I streamed that game on YouTube to basically no one. And like made a heap of clips out of it, put it on there. Nothing went nowhere near as gangbusters as that. Like, and I was put some effort into it. So I'm like, well, maybe I should have just not done any effort and just put random clips from the game, just like not even funny bits, just like dialogue of people talking about boring stuff and see if it does well. I don't know. I don't. It's a pet peeve of mine where you put a lot of work into something and you're quite proud of it and you put it out in the wild and it just does dog shit and then you're like, well, here's this funny cat video and it gets a million views and it's like, okay, well, why do I try? You know,
I
it's
think that it's like I think that it's important to learn from stuff like that. Not the I put out this video that was nothing and it got 5 million views because
no.
I don't think that there's anything to learn from that, right? It
No,
just
it's
kind
just
of
an
just
anomaly.
happened.
It's yeah.
Yeah.
It just
But, like, things that are like, I put out this video, it didn't get a lot of views. I put out this video, it didn't get a lot of views. I put out this video, still didn't get a lot of views. I think it's time for a change. You
yep.
know, and there's like a saying of like every fifth piece of content that you put out of a thing should be something new so that you can fish for a new audience. And then if that picks up, you then continue making those. So that way you can like have some variety in there.
Interesting.
And that's like a kind of thing that didn't really work with old YouTube. Because old YouTube was just like, welcome back to another Minecraft Let's Play.
Welcome to
And
part
that's not really
1079 of our
yeah.
Minecraft Let's Play.
So like we see all these like YouTubers or Twitch streamers that have been around since 2015 and have had
Mm,
thousands of viewers since 2015, and it just doesn't work like that anymore.
no, it
And
doesn't.
I wish I knew how it worked because then I'd have the 5 bajillion viewers. But like,
Yeah.
hey, I'm still figuring it out.
Yeah, and I'm like, I was upfront. I went like, I went to content creators I know and said, "Hey, look at this YouTube short and tell me what I did right so I can do it again." And like, no, everyone's just gone. It makes no
I have
sense.
no idea. I've seen it. I have no idea. It's just I don't
Makes no
know.
sense. And it's the same thing. Like a friend of mine, Pog, who I was talking to earlier, has these crazy Overwatch clips where he just slowed down the hamster so that you could see the jiggle physics in his nipples, and that's the most like it's millions of views. And he's like, "Well, I have to find more jiggle physics now." It's like, you know, how do you recreate, you know, the magic? And I've written it off to the point now where I just go, "That's not my content." I didn't mind the game, but like it's not. I'm not getting wildly excited about that. I'm not going to do more. You know, I'm going to do something
Yeah,
else,
that's
regardless
fine.
of yeah, and that's fine. And what I'd like to do is, you know, something that I work hard on, like this podcast, to do really well because then I can keep doing it, and you know, it does really well, and that's what I'd like to see happen. But will it happen? You don't know until you try. But I'm thinking now that
Hey, you
every
know how
fifth
you could make that
podcast,
happen? You could subscribe or follow depending on the platform that you're on, and you could press the like button or star depending on what platform you're on, and you could comment,
all of them
or maybe
at
not
once.
depending on you know, you could do that.
Well, I actually, and this is, I don't know, actually, fourth podcast. I think it's the fourth podcast that I've technically started. Um, the process and actually doing the podcasting side of things, like putting it on Spotify and stuff like that, so much easier than when I started. When I started, it was a nightmare, and it's kind of reflective on as well. When I think about like YouTube, Twitch, TikTok, all those stuff, they're getting the game and it's getting easier to make content and stuff like that. Like I like TikTok's a great example. They've just updated their stuff where I could just bulk drop in 10 clips now and bulk publish, schedule, do them all. It's like half the time that it was. even 6 months ago. Um, and they have like TikTok live streaming. They now have portrait and landscape. You just have both of them there. It's like having the OBS plugin, but now it's just in the TikTok one. And all they could do is just turn the. I'm like, this stuff's great. Like they're actually making a difference. And like to your earlier point, platforms like YouTube that have the capability to make a real difference are just not doing anything. It's kind of
Yeah.
like live streaming in particular. Like the only real live stream platform that sort of come along and was doing really big things was Mixer for the longest time. That come along and they had really good technology. They just had awful branding, really, for the longest time. So it used to
I
be Beam it.
wholeheartedly believe
Was
that
it
if
Beam? But then it
Mixer
was Mixer. Yeah,
I think so, yeah.
yeah.
I wholeheartedly believe that if Mixer didn't die when it did, and it survived until the
Now,
DMCA wars that Twitch
oh,
went through,
yep.
I wholeheartedly believe that Mixer would have picked up steam
Hmm.
and possibly could have been close or beating Twitch at this point
At the
because of
very
all of the
least,
missteps that Twitch made up
yeah.
until Emmett Shear left.
Yeah. At the very least, they would have had their piece of the pie. Like they would have had a nice little
Yeah,
chunk there. They would have been keeping it going. Like I think in a lot of cases, like when you read into it, it just sounds like it's just a freaking hard business to run. And they kind of
of
just
course.
said, "We're done. We're out," and that's
I
fair.
mean,
I
like,
okay, I understand. But also, I feel like there'd be less missteps by Twitch if Mixer was right there. Like if
no,
Mixer
I
was right
agree.
there, Twitch would be like, "Actually, no, we probably won't make this little change just now because that might hurt our image." And Mixer might take a bit more of the pie. And like it's just and then there's at the moment, like obviously there's the kick, which is it's just something else altogether. I don't even know how to describe it these days. And there's companies like Livespace and Trovo and these other little startups that kind of just trying to find their feet and find their process into it. But nothing competes. But YouTube can compete. It has everything that it needs to compete. It just feels like
But live streaming isn't profitable. Like, even for whether you look at it from the streamer angle or the platform angle, like
hmm,
streaming just isn't profitable right now. And maybe there is a way to do that, and nobody has cracked it yet. I mean, obviously, there's these streamers that stream 12 hours a day and have 5 bajillion viewers. They're the outliers. We don't
but even
like,
even
but for
those
most
ones
people,
even those people like, majority of their income comes outside of the streaming anyway. Like it's brand deals and
yeah,
stuff. Yeah.
yeah.
So it's yeah, and like it's so interesting because then like the thing is that when people go, oh, I want to be a content creator, they instantly go, I'm going to stream on Twitch. And it's like, well, hang on, making YouTube videos is actually the better path here to get into like content creation and stuff like that. If you can establish yourself as a brand, as a regular posting that has a following and stuff on YouTube, then you're good. Like you can post videos and they can get views for a long time and do really well. Otherwise, you're going to be streaming all day, every day, and hoping for the best. And it's only so much you can do. It's only so
Whenever
many hours in
anybody
a day.
asks me Whenever anybody asks me, what how do they start content creation, right? Or how do they
Yep.
usually it's, "How do I start streaming?" Right? That's usually
Yeah.
what they'll ask.
Yep.
I say, "Don't. Go make YouTube Let's Plays.
Mm.
Make those bad Let's Plays because 'cause they're gonna be bad. They were for me, they were
For
for
me
everybody
too.
that did,
Yep.
right? Like, they're gonna be bad. So make those bad Let's Plays. Learn how to edit because that's the number 1. You're gonna learn how to edit. Number 2, you're gonna learn what you don't like about yourself. So you're gonna be able to change that and become a more entertaining person. And number 3, you'll have a grip on a better platform, YouTube,
Yep.
than Twitch. And then maybe if you still want to stream, then go stream or make some content that's worthwhile. For me, that took a long time to find, which was the video essays. I really enjoy making them and I want to make more.
Yep.
For others, that is streaming and they grip onto streaming. I love streaming. I love it so much. I love the community that I've built. I love playing these video games.
Yeah.
But like my pride and joy when like I when I'm sitting at night thinking about content creation, I'm thinking about the next video that I'm gonna make, or
Mm.
I'm thinking about the next event that I'm gonna run on Twitch. I'm thinking about the big ones
Yeah. Yeah.
because that's what those are. Streaming every night is just kind of like it's
It's
kind
kind of
of
it's kind of
it's
gaming.
fun.
It's kind of gaming with the
Yeah,
guys, right? It's like it's
just
community
gaming with
time.
the guys, exactly.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
I kind of feel the same way. And like people start go, why are you streaming this game and stuff? It's like, because I want to play this game. Like, it's like,
yeah.
yeah, it's and I'm happy to share it. Like I'll share it with the community. We'll all play it and experience it together. But it's like I'm not playing this game because I think that this is going to make me rich or anything like that. I'm expanding my knowledge by playing, and like because as people go, what games do you play? I say I'll play anything, at least once.
Yeah.
Like it
The
might be
number
shit
one
and I might
reason I
quit,
stream
but yeah,
Number one reason I stream is because one, I love my community. I love talking with them. I love shooting the shit. I love their goofy memes and stuff that they make out of the 5,000 redeems that I've made. I love them, right? That's the number one reason.
yeah,
Number two, I just want to play video games. If I wasn't streaming, I'd be playing these video games anyways. So again, it goes back to the reason I started doing Let's Plays. I'm gonna be playing these anyways. I might as well be doing something with them.
yeah, yeah. I mean, like when I was growing up, I'm a little bit older than you. Like I would record on my VCR me playing playing the Super Nintendo, playing Nintendo 64, and then give the
A lot of people
videotape to
did.
my friends so they could watch it because I wanted them to watch me play video games because YouTube wasn't a thing yet. It's like, and
I remember seeing people take the screenshots of their games and then post them on walkthroughs, and that was like the
yeah,
revolution.
that was crazy. Yeah, that's and like it's like I was what was I playing? I was playing the original Prince of Persia. And I'm like, I'm stuck and I'm doing something dumb here. And I went to look up a walkthrough and I found a notepad document as a walkthrough. And like they'd, drawn the map in text. And I'm like, this is taking me back. This is crazy.
Yeah.
And then it's crazy when you start to think about it. Like if you think 10 years, well, I've been in content like longer than Zombies Love Bacon, but like, Zombies Love Bacon, the brand, is 11 years old. So was OBS. Like before, when I was making content before the brand, like we were using god awful freeware that comes with overpriced capture cards that are capturing at
Remember
180p. And
XSplit?
I remember people were paying for XSplit, and I was like, I ain't paying for that. And I was using
Yeah.
some other thing, and like it's just like content creation these days is so easy, but I feel like a lot of that blood, sweat, and tears, and like that I'm going to make a game video. I'm going to do a let's play. I do a planning. I'm going to do this. There's structure to it and stuff like that. I feel like a lot of that's disappeared, and you get this kind of hollow content where the people are just like, well, here's the game. Watch the game. It's going to be entertaining and stuff like that. I'm like, no, I want to do something more interesting and more of that. And it's hard now because like I actively sometimes like I just want to watch let's plays, and it's hard to find old school unknown let's players in that sea of YouTube or even Twitch. Sometimes it's like I just want to find a normal person playing a normal game, and sometimes it's just really hard to do that. And I don't know, it's just an age of, I guess it's so much easier, so everyone's doing it, and some people are just doing it for the wrong reasons
Yeah.
or different
That's
reasons, I
honestly the
guess.
primary problem with like Twitch and streaming is that like it's too easy to click that go live button.
Yeah,
Meanwhile, with like YouTube, there's a whole process. Unless you just like upload the recording, but like nobody's gonna watch it, you know? So like to make a successful YouTube channel, there's like a whole process. And there's a puzzle that you need to crack.
yeah,
But like with streaming or also TikTok, you just press the record button and then that's it. You're done.
yeah.
So at that point, there's so many content creators on this one singular platform that it drowns out everybody else.
Yeah, exactly. And then it's yeah, I don't know. It's so difficult to kind of like discoverability is a big issue in content creation in
Of
general.
course.
And part of it is because of that sea of content creators that has been created by making things easier, but it's also just like I don't know, it's just hard to be like I want to find someone who's playing the game that's not going to interrupt to, beg for subs or whatever, or just like it's just it's very hard to find what you're looking for. And the thing that annoys me the most is particularly when you like go to YouTube and you say, okay, well, I'm working on this level on this game and I just want to know how to do this and whatever. And you look it up, and then the next one that comes up is like someone who's clearly just put clickbait to make you click that link. And you go in, there's no information, and it's just like, man, I just want to find the content. And unfortunately, because YouTube, in the same way that Twitch has kind of dominated this live streaming, YouTube's dominated the VOD industry, and like there's not really an alternative to go, oh, well, I'm going to look up something else. Like you can Google it and hope for the best, but you probably get clickbait through that as well. Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of weird. And like, so my fallback recently, and this kind of segues back to what you're doing, is if I can't find that old school like proper let's play sort of stuff and that kind of thing, I've been going into more like video essays, long forms content, and like people who have done research on a topic and actually talk about stuff and it's interesting. And I'm like, because like my day job's boring as batshit, so I'm always got something going on in my ear to keep me entertained, to keep my brain on. And it's either podcasts or it's long form content or let's plays. And like I go back to like classics. Like I really like old Funhouse, like Demo Disc and those sort of shows where just the nostalgia hit. And I'll still watch that, even though it's ancient. But
Of course.
there's nothing quite like that now. So I like what you've been doing with your video essay stuff. There's some stuff that I would look at and go, "Oh yeah, I know about this," and there's other stuff I go, "I have no idea that that was even a thing," which is cool because that's exactly what I like to learn. Is like get someone explain something I don't know, so I can get more information in my brain. But like you said, you've obviously you think about it as the content that kind of you like to be focused on. Is that sort of the trajectory you hope to continue on? Like just get into more essay sort of stuff, or like where do you see it sort of I guess evolving?
So, content creation is kind of like people talk about a content funnel, right? Where you have like the big piece of content and then
Yeah,
that funnels into other pieces of content. So like for us, the most common one is like you make a Twitch stream that funnels into like a highlight reel or a let's play. And then that funnels into TikToks, shorts, that kind of thing. So you have that content funnel of going down the list.
yeah,
I don't have that intentionally. I have content pillars. So like one pillar is uh the Twitch streams and the second YouTube channel, which is Let's Plays and VODs, right? Uh that's the one pillar, and then that funnels into clips of TikToks and shorts of clips. So that's the first pillar, right? And then my second content pillar is the video essays. It used to be the gaming news, now it's the video essays.
yeah.
With the video essays, I never with gaming news, I never really had a chance to scratch the itch of storytelling. Because like
Right.
I very much I love writing, I love telling stories, I love that kind of thing. I've DM'd a lot. I love that kind of thing, right? And I never got to scratch that itch with gaming news because I was really just regurgitating information that somebody else wrote. Um, in my own flair, but like still I'm not doing anything there.
Yeah.
With the video essays, I'm telling a through line story uh, with acts in between of getting to the climax. And I love that feeling of like, I hate editing nowadays. Like I've been doing it for so long. I hate it. Uh, but I love writing. So I'll be sitting there and I'll be editing of my video uh and I'll be thinking about the next video, dreading about me working on this video because I just want to get it out of the way so that
Yeah.
I can work on the next one.
Yeah.
So I love doing that, and that's why I've gravitated towards video essays. My goal this year is to get out one video essay every month. I'm already
Okay.
failing that, but I'm gonna
We're only
try to
1
get
month
2
in.
out soon. Yeah, yeah, I'm already failing, but that's my goal this year. I also want to make them longer because, as we talked about, longer form content works.
Yeah.
Right now, they're like 10 minutes long. I think the longest one I have is like 14. My aim is to get them to like 20, 30 minutes
I've been
ish.
getting I'm not even kidding. I've been getting into like 3 or 4 hour long essays just listening to them, and
Yeah, it's great.
it's great, and it's to the point now where like if I need to like relax my brain and just to even just to go to sleep, it's like put on a video essay and listen just listen, and it goes for ages, and it's great. And like I know that like Did You Know Gaming have done they've got like a sleep channel now, so they just put all
I
their
seen that.
clips together, and it's so good. Like it's so good. You just listen to it, and every now and then, like you'll be nodding off, and then you hear a fact, and go, "What the?" And you wake back up, and it's like, "Oh, it's fine. No, it's fine. It's all good." But it's like, I feel like it's longer is even better. Like we're at that point now where, like, it's. I mean, obviously, if the story, don't just pad it out for the sake of padding it out, but
Oh yeah, of
like
course.
It used to be, it was that trend for a while. We're like, oh, we'll break it up into parts. Like, don't never break it up into parts. One video, please, all the way through. It just, oh, let's give us the full story, full picture. But yeah, I really like it. I feel like this is where we're at in terms of like quality content at the moment on YouTube. Is that longer form, half hour to an hour, telling a story, a bit more personal sort of to it as well, like not just regurgitating or just reading a script,
Yeah.
that you
I
found
mean, that's
somewhere
where we're
else.
at. Like, it's either it's either you've been on the platform for 50 million years, you're making podcasts, or you're making video essays. That's really all that exists right now.
Yeah.
Now there's like more, there's it's more different than that. Like when you say video essay, what does that really mean? You know, so like there's a little bit different than that, but like for the most part, that's what the platform is right
Yeah, I
now.
mean, to me, like video essay is it's what it is. Like it's what used to be. Oh, have you read this article? It's really good, and it's 30 pages long. It's like I'm not reading that article. It's 30. I don't care how good it is. It's like, but if you had a video, if that was in video form, absolutely, I'll put that in my ear and I'd be working away and listening to it, and it'd be great.
Of course,
That's all I want in a lot of cases. But no, it's But I think the tricky bit is, and I suppose is like there's a lot of work that goes into it, and
of
like
course.
how long would you reckon you'd spend on like a 10-15 minute video, including your
Uh,
editing, including sitting there and swearing at your editing process? Don't worry, I
so
do the
I
same.
of course. So I did. I know that around 18,000 words on a script is 18,000. Sorry, 1,800. I
Okay.
know around
Jeez.
1,800 words. Sorry, 1,900 words. I just opened my script. 1,900 words is 10 minutes.
Yep.
So the first step is writing around 1,900 words. Now that's been doubled, so like I'm gonna have to write more, but because I'm trying to get longer, right?
Yep.
So 1,900. So that's the first step. That takes a few days because first I have to research, and depending on the topic, that can take anywhere between a day to a week, 2 weeks. Depends on what it is. Then after that, uh and obviously this isn't like precise hours. This is like in between times,
Yeah.
because I'm still
Yeah.
streaming during this year. So that could take a while. Um, for the most part, most of my videos so far have taken like 4 days, maybe, of research.
Yep.
Um, with like one of those 4 days being dedicated, you know, only doing that for the whole day. Um,
Mm.
and then after that is the writing. Uh, Starting is the hardest part. Just like sitting down and doing it, that's the hardest
Yeah.
part. Once I get started and I'm on a roll, I can nail that out in a day. For 1,800 words, I can nail that in a day, no problem. Um, but then I edit it, so that's like one more day on top of that because I'm editing my script.
Yep.
And making it good and perfect. Then I record, and then editing is too fucking long. It's like I don't know, I couldn't tell you. It's hours upon hours. It's like I think my last one took me I think I started the last video, which is the movie game video by the time we're recording this.
Yep.
Um, I think I started that video at the or at the end of November, so it was like November 28th-ish. And I finished that at the end of December. So that video took me almost an entire month of just working on that.
Yep.
Um, but like there was other things to do there. I was burned out as
Yeah.
fuck.
Yeah. 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 I mean, that's, and I suppose I mean, it's so much time. Like I've had
And there's like
similar,
think about like an H bomber guy video, the video that we've all seen, the plagiarizing content
which
creators,
everyone
right?
should
Like
see. It's fucking excellent.
it's really good. Like, that's a 3-hour long video. If it took me that long while also doing other things, granted, because I also stream, right?
I think if you
So,
pay
like
attention, you can see him age throughout the video.
yeah, it's like that takes a long time to put together, for those kinds of things. So, like, when my main inspiration is Nakey Jakey, right? I love Nakey
Okay.
Jakey's videos, love him. I love the kind of content he makes. I hope to even get even a pale shadow of what he makes, right? Um, So he's my main inspiration of like who I look to because I want to make something like that. Then I have one that's like I don't like this content creator very much. I don't like their content, and it's Scott the Waz, right? I'm sure he's a fantastic person. I'm not too into his content. It's not my thing, right? So I look at his content and I'm like, okay, I feel like I can hit somewhere in between these two and get something that's more me and what I like,
Yeah.
right? Looking at him as an inspiration of what I don't want to do and looking at him as an inspiration of what I do want to do. So I look at those two, and then from there, I go to many other video essays and I pull little aspects of that and I look at what works for them and what I think could be done better. I feel as though 90% of video essays that are out there don't have a face tied to it. It's just kind of like video game footage.
Mm.
And for like the video game niche, obviously, not just
Yep.
every video essay out there, but for the video game niche, it's just like video game footage and they're talking.
Yep.
And that's fine. That works for them. I want to incorporate me in there, so I want to incorporate my face and put it there and have it at the forefront, right? Because at the end of the day, the content is about me, not the game. So it's like, so that's kind of where that element goes of like the mixing pot of what makes my content, what makes my video essays,
Yep.
and my goals. Because I very much I want something that is a video essay, but more high octane kind of thing, you know? Does that make
Yeah.
sense?
Yeah, it does. It's almost as if you're trying to. It's almost something new, you know. It's like because video essays they are very paint by
Yeah.
numbers in a lot of ways, and yeah, I don't know. I don't like. It's almost outside of. It's almost like a show. It's almost like a doco. Like like kind of like the old school docos where they'd have a host that would introduce you to this and talk about that, and maybe go out and talk about, actually go out on location, which you maybe you can do, but maybe digitally with a green screen you can be there as well. That kind of content, which actually is kind of cool when I think about it. Like I used to watch the shit out of all those shows back in the day. Um, but yeah, I get what you're saying. It's good that you know what you are aiming for. It's not just I'm going to turn on
From there,
my
it's just an
camera.
analytic game. Like
Yeah,
analytics are just like I view it as a puzzle. Like I'm trying to crack this puzzle of like what the analytics are, and how it works. Like I know the general rules. Like I know that watch time is king, right? I know
yep,
that. I know that end screen click rate is super important. Getting people to
yeah,
click onto the next video. So I know like those two things are like the peaks, and then from there it's like other things here or there, right? But like
yeah.
I have the pieces of the puzzle. What do I have to? How do I put these together to
You
make it put out something that works?
something that's going to be that
Uh,
breakout, that one that just hits it right, and then
yeah. And
you're
then
good
once I
after that.
figure that out, right? I can analyze those and figure out how to make that semi-consistent, right?
Yeah.
It's like that's like unlike these random My Summer Car or Tales of the Borderlands videos. That's something that can be redone and remade. Like a stream is like it's a special little thing of like a live stream is people want the same thing out of a live stream every single time. People want comfort when they go to the live stream. They want
Correct.
something that is roughly the same of what they experienced the previous live
They
stream.
want they click the icon expecting something, and they want what they expect. They don't want to be.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Meanwhile, with YouTube, you're allowed to mix it up a little bit and like throw in a wrench here or there and still have it be good. And that's where that like 5 video rule
Mm.
comes in of like your fifth video needs to be something new. That doesn't mean you're a gardener YouTuber, right? Like you make gardening videos. That doesn't mean you're suddenly going to go work on a car. You
This is
know, that
episode
doesn't mean you're
5,
going to,
by the way. Just
so
checking. So
like
anyway,
but like
yeah,
in general, it's like, oh, you make, let's say you're a gardener YouTuber, right? And you make videos that are about growing veggies correctly, right? Like you talk all about that stuff. Your fifth video, maybe it's about daisies.
mm,
It's just
yeah.
it's still
Just
the
mix it up a
same
little bit.
stuff,
Just refresh it.
just
And
twist
then
it.
if that one outperforms the rest of them, then maybe you should, do more Daisy videos.
Yeah,
Yeah. I
exactly.
like it's I like to refer to it's not a rule. This is the first time I've heard of this rule, but I like it. But I like to call it arcs. Like we go through different arcs. So it's like, okay, well, we're going to be playing these games, and then it's like this is going really well. So it's just we're going to blow that out, and it's going to keep happening, and we're going through this arc at the moment, and then it's and then it might become your brand or whatever. But if it's not working, it's like, oh, we're going to switch it up. We're going to play a different thing. We're going to do something different. We're going through a different arc, and like I've done like at the moment for the last couple of weeks I've just been playing Prince of Persia games, so that's been my Prince of Persia arc, which
I
is great
mean,
because I grew up playing Prince of Persia, like the original games was one of my first games, so I've just been having a nostalgia fit. It's been amazing, but that arc's over for me now, so I'm on to the next one, and it's kind of like, and there'll be people that have really enjoyed the streams and stuff like that, and I'll never see them again because they were only there for that arc and they're not interested. But I will, as we're going into it, like as we're getting towards the end of that arc, I'm like, hey guys, this is what's coming up. Get excited. Next thing's gonna be this, and we kind of spitball a little bit, and like community says, hey, you should try this game or do this thing. That'd be funny. And then I just sort of plan it out and do it because I feel like there's too many content creators where they'll just be like, yeah, cool. This game comes out on Monday. We're gonna play this game on Monday, and then we're going back to playing Valorant on Tuesday. And it's like, okay, well, what's the even point if you're not going to change your
I mean, you're
content?
talking to the dude that is like 10 games into a 36 long game series of Zelda. Like yeah, I get you.
I mean, I did that. I did the Zelda arc as well. I went through and played. Well, I didn't do the OGs. I just did all the 3D Zeldas. I copped out, but
I'm getting there.
again, I was having a nostalgic time. That was just for me, really. I just really wanted to play
Yeah.
them again. But everyone knew that, like, we'll play. I think it was like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. We play Zelda games. That's it, and that everyone knew, and that was it. And then I went through like a GTA RP phase, and it was like a huge arc in that one because it blew out and kind of went much longer than intended. But and then I did a dumb thing and I looked at all my Assassin's Creed games and said, geez, I should really finish an Assassin's Creed game one day. And then we tried to finish every Assassin's Creed game in 1 month, and that was a mistake. We got close though. So, but it's just like, it's about not necessarily just making it, I'm live, come see me play video game. It's like, no, we're doing something. Like it's actually something going on here. There's content. And sometimes it works. Sometimes it's people like, oh, that's not for me. And they just disappear until the next time it's for them. And that's fine. But that's the live streaming side of things and I found this out the hard way with the ZLB podcast, is that we went on a growth from episode 1 just being awful to episode 100 just being balls to the wall crazy. And I'm like, episode 100 is amazing. It's a fucking ride. But everyone goes, oh, you got a podcast? Cool. I'll start at episode 1. It's like, no, don't listen to the first bit. And I'm like, we can't get new audience members because everyone's going back to the old stuff thinking that there's a linear path here and a story that they need to be attached to. And it's kind of like, no, start at episode 86 is much better. And so we did a lot of work, and then that's where we kind of like show like this one is like, this doesn't have a time limit. Like if anyone ever wants to come in and see this and get this information, it's relevant, to yourself, to me, going forward for however long. Where I found that when we stagnated like our weekly sort of show, people felt that they had to start at the start, and then they never got to the end. And like a spoiler alert for episode 100, we find a ghost that is a horse and it kicks a woman in the face. True story. Actual true story. But no one will ever get to it because they all start at episode 1, and episode 1 to 40 I hate. But to our earlier comment, when you start and you do your Let's Plays and everything else, you always end up hating your original content. Just seems to be.
You will hate every single thing you make until you don't. Like
Yeah.
it's just how it is. Like you have to. The only way to learn how to be good at this, be that podcasting, streaming, let's plays, whatever
Just
the hell you
being
want to make, it doesn't
creative.
matter.
Yeah.
It's just being bad. It's being bad at it is what it is. Like you have to be bad, and eventually you'll learn how to be good. If you do ignore my advice of becoming a let's player and editing that kind of stuff, and you do like become streaming, watch your own VODs. Watch
Yeah.
them.
And if you can't,
Because if
there's a
you don't,
problem. Yeah,
yeah,
if you don't like
if
them,
you don't like watching yourself, then other people aren't either.
it is the best feeling in the world when you go back and watch your VOD and you laugh at your own jokes. And it's like,
Yeah,
oh
I do
man,
it
that
all the
was
time.
great. That was so good. And sometimes
I'm
I'm the only
telling
one
you.
laughing, but I don't care.
Yeah. I mean, like, like I said, before we started, like, we could go on for 3 hours. I don't care. I love the sound of my own voice. At this point, like, I don't know.
Yeah,
It's how it
absolutely.
is.
It's just how and it's important. And like I hear a lot of people who will be like, "Oh, you know, I can't watch my own VODs. I can't edit because I don't like my own voice and stuff like." I'm like, "What you're doing
Then there's a
something wrong.
problem.
There's a problem."
Yeah.
Because yeah, it's like if you don't like it, how do other people feel? You know, it's like it's crazy. I always it's sort of moving into the next bit, I guess. Whereas content creation is one thing in terms of sense of like YouTube and Twitch and whatever all these platforms we've talked about and stuff like that. But then it's just being creative people in general, and that's kind of where uh, I've discovered more as I was like working on this show, which I've been working on this show for a while. And like, and
It's a good show.
you test things, and you go, that doesn't work, or you test things and you go, this is, you know, I need to learn more, I need to upskill or whatever, and you do all these sort of stuff. But the process in which I went through was like I found a lot of other shows that do, you know, have the same kind of pitch, right? You know, interviewing streamers or whatever else. And I thought that was cool and I liked it and everything else. This is a true story. This is how this is lore. This is Creator Notes lore, right? Uh, I was like, oh yeah, and like I've seen people. I know personally know people that have done a very similar show in the past, and they've like live streamed it and stuff like that, and they all do really well, and I find them very interesting, but they tend to die off in some point. And I was out in town. I went to the Melbourne Comedy Festival, and I was wandering around, and I thought to myself, sitting in an audience of a comedian who, her first question was, "Who's here because they saw me on TikTok?" And it was the entire room. And she's like, "Well, I've been doing comedy for years, but it's nice to know that you saw me on TikTok." You know, it's like, I'm like, there's a great story here, and that is a very creative person who changed platform and exploded. And I'm like, I want to talk to creative people. I don't want to talk to people like streamers or YouTuber, or you know, I don't want to like people like actual people. And that's where I thought this makes more sense to be more about talking about the person and their journey and how they do it. Because there's so much, it's just so many people's like, hey, if you want to get into streaming, you need to, you know, make a schedule and stick to it, and you know, put make a social media page. And it's like, yeah, okay, cool, we get it. Copy and paste. It's the same story across the board. It's the people that do something different. And you know, like we've had, and so far I've been really lucky to find a lot of people who are a willing to come on the show that I guess a little bit more unique is probably the best way to put it, but different, you know. And it's like you're not going to find. Well, I don't know. Is there more Drew Sons out there? I think like you're not going to find another person who's doing what Drew's doing. But okay, yes, you know, anywhere else, like you're fairly unique and stuff like that, and obviously deliberately so. Like you're trying to do your own thing and make that work, which is I feel important. But from a perspective of if other people want to get in, like maybe people are feeling creative and stuff like that, and they want to get into content creation full time, like yourself, what advice would you give them outside of obviously, you know, if they say they want to be a live streamer, we already sort of know the answer, but like if they just say, hey, you know, I have this great idea, I want to be a, you know, I want to make videos and stuff like that. Like, where do you start, and at what point do you go, I can do this full time? In general, you know, like where do you draw that line? Because for a lot of people, the full time bit is like the dream, and it's the journey to get to that. I guess is step one. What do you reckon? Where do you go?
I'm I'm lucky that I have family that is willing to support me. Not everybody is in that situation where they have family that is so generous, right?
Yeah.
Um so for me, I'm not really into that situation. If I didn't have family that were so supportive, I would have like a 9 to 5, you know? Um, I think that when it comes to stuff like that, it's important to know that like not every job you have needs to be a career. It can just be a job,
Mm.
something that pays the bills. And meanwhile, something like this could be your dream career. You use your job to fuel your hobby in the hope that your hobby becomes a career.
Yeah.
So if you are uh, working at a job that is time demanding, but you have these creative wants to go start your gardening channel, then maybe question whether or not that time demanding job is the career that you want. If the answer is no, then get something that is less time demanding but still pays well enough for you to survive. Maybe save up some money before you make this big
Yeah,
change.
yeah.
Uh,
No
but
one quit their
uh,
job and decide content creation before they
yeah, no, no,
do the
no.
content. Yeah. It's
So like go do your 9 to 5, whatever you can do to pay the bills, and then make content on the side. That's going to be hard. It's
yep.
going to really kill you of how much time that all of this is going to take. Um, but that's content creation, baby. It's just how it is. Like uh, so when do you go full time? Um, as again, assuming that you don't have family that's willing to support you,
Yeah.
uh, I don't think that you should until you are monetized and making a decent amount of money doing this. If you can't survive off of your content creation, including merch sales and
Yeah.
brand deals and so on and so forth, whatever the whole net income. If you can't survive off of that kind of stuff, then maybe you're not ready. Stay with that 9 to 5. Do what you got to do. If you feel like you can make that push, uh, with streaming, they call it the push to partner. That doesn't
Yeah.
mean anything, right?
Yep.
It's really like the push to like success of being monetized to the degree that you can survive, right? Um, if you feel like you can go full time and make that push to make that happen, you feel like you've cracked the algorithm or whatever the hell, then save up money, make that push. But you need to acknowledge that this is a very competitive career, and you're probably not going to do it.
Yeah.
Um, like it's not like it. There is a very high chance that you're not going to do it. You can. It's not impossible, but it
Yeah.
is hard.
Yeah.
So in turn, if you feel like you can make that push, save up money and then do it. But acknowledge that there is an expiration date to that
Yes.
push and go back to a 9 to 5 or whatever and
Yeah.
make some money so that you can survive.
Yeah. I think it's
Did I answer your
uh
question?
no, you did. I'm glad that you answered it properly because some people were like, "Yeah, just follow your dreams. You'll make it. You got this." It's like that's
However,
not how.
do make a schedule and don't post it on Twitter. That's doing nothing for you. Do make a schedule and stick to it. Because again, and this is the part that people don't talk about in the copy paste, right? Because
Mhm.
it's hard to hear. It is really hard to hear, right? Make a schedule and stick to it.
Yep.
This is a job. If you want this to be a job, it can be a hobby. But if you want this to be a job, you have to treat it like a job. Sick days, you don't have many of them.
Mm. No.
Mental wellness days, you don't have many of them. If
Yep.
you say that you are going to be live at 8 p.m. your time, you have to be live at 8 p.m. your time unless you are dying.
Yeah.
You
And I
have to
and
be.
I know this is a fact because it's no coincidence that every time I go on the Drew stream, he's pooping. Every time it's like
I'm
clockwork. You
pooping.
could set your clock to it. It's crazy. It's
You
scheduled.
can because it's every 2 hours. It's every 2 hours because I do 6 minute pee breaks for the ads to run. So every 2 hours, roughly, because there's the snooze button,
Yeah. Yeah.
it's then 6 minutes of a pee break, and then I come back for 2 hours. You get me for a movie, and then you gotta take a shit. But that's it.
But yeah, yeah, you do. You answered the question, and it's a common thing where a lot of people go, that, they look at YouTube and they just go, "I'll be Mr. Beast." Like, no, there's only one Mr. Beast. There's one person out of everyone
Mr.
on
Beast
YouTube.
can never happen ever again.
No, it
Like no
won't.
matter what you do, you can't do that.
Yep. Yep, it's impossible. And most people that like YouTubers who would be considered successful, they still work a normal job as well. They just have a side hustle that brings them extra money so they can afford stuff that they like to, do. There's very few people that are just straight up monetized solo projects where they're filming, editing, writing, doing everything themselves and making enough money to like that takes so much time. You might as well just go work a 9 to 5.
Yeah.
It's the same amount of time.
And
And
the
it's
ones
important.
that don't work 9 to 5s, their side hustle is Patreon.
Yeah, they've many side hustles, whatever, many side hustles, and I'm the same. I consider I have a career on a 9 to 5. I've worked in the same job for 20 years. It's kind of nuts. But to them, like they think that all the other stuff is all my side hustle, but like I'm asleep with my eyes open when I'm at work. So I wake up when I'm going home and I'm firing up the stream or making content, coming up with a great idea, and that's just that's me. But it's about finding that balance where I can survive. So
Yeah.
bills get paid, lights stay on, I get the games and the stuff that I need so I can do my streams and stuff I love doing. That's the important thing. And I
That
feel
needs
like
to be the aim for more people.
yeah, it's a realistic aspiration, and it's more
Yeah.
people just need to know that yeah, there's certain things like you can't just go, I'm going full time content creation, and then go, oh sorry, I couldn't pay the bill. I was sick
Yeah.
and I couldn't stream this
I mean,
week.
at the
So
very least, it's more realistic than I'm gonna be a full-time content creator. I get it. Job market's hard, I get it. I'm not saying like, "Oh, just go get a job." That's not what I'm saying, okay? Like the job market is hard, I get it. But it is a lot more realistic than I'm gonna be a full-time content creator.
yeah, yeah, I think Rook put it really well, which I didn't really think about it until he did. But he's like, it's like do what you can. Like don't just if you can't get everything done, just do what you can. Like it's not that bad. Like if you can't, stream every day because you're going to work a 9 to 5 to keep the bills paid, and you can only stream 3 days a week, then stream 3 days a week. Don't you can't. Yeah, it's crazy. We are mindful of time. We do need to wrap things up, but I just wanted to talk about because we're kind of circling around a lot of things. But I think the important thing here is, and to highlight yourself, um, you are a very passionate gamer, and I say gamer in the term of you do play many games. I wouldn't even hesitate to guess how many games you play. It seems like multiple a day, so, which it's great. Like I guess there's people that are streamers that do content in like content in general, and then there's gamers who will get games done and do the content sort of stuff. And I just wanted to say that in terms of being you're super passionate about all this sort of stuff around gaming. You're obviously very passionate about YouTube. Um, you've seen the glory days of like where people went from shitty webcams and shitty gameplay to 4K and high production and are smashing it. And obviously, you'll find your place in that piece when you crack the Da Vinci Code and solve that puzzle. But I suppose the sort of more the final question I guess I've got for you is going forward, and this is kind of pie in the sky kind of stuff, but like, is there like a particular brand or a particular goal or like something that you really just say, this is where I want to get
Oh, I have a
to?
bunch.
This is okay. Well, let's go. Like, what is it?
All right. So like we talked about one, which was go to Australia, right? I'm gonna get to Australia. I'm gonna get to Australia PAX, right? That's like a big one, right?
Oh
I would
yeah.
love to host a panel at PAX.
If you
Be
come to
that
Australia
uh,
PAX, I will get you on a panel. I guarantee.
be
Easy.
that PAX Australia or PAX East, whatever the hell, right? I want to host a panel, right? So
Yeah.
that's a big one. We talked about Did You Know Gaming. One of my dreams is actually to narrate a Did You Know Gaming video. I would
Oh, that'd
love
be
to do that. I
sick.
want to do that. I feel like I have the voice for it. I feel like I have the energy for it to bring people in. We talked about Kind of Funny. I want to be on Kind of Funny as a guest. I would love to be that. Um, I want to ride a horse. That's it.
Okay.
For my for my content in general, like my goals for my content.
Yep.
I already said that I want to upload a video every month this year. I want to aim for longer, that kind of thing, right? I think overall my goal is right now I'm doing okay, a different goal. I want to be hidden gem. I want to win hidden gem for the streamer awards. I don't know when this video goes up. Nominations are over, but if you can vote on the nominations, Drew Sunn for hidden gem if I got in. But that's another goal. Anyways, back to what I was saying. I think my overall goal with content creation as a whole is to uh, get to a level of viewership, be that on stream, YouTube, whatever. Get to a level of viewership where I can lift other content creators up with me.
Hmm.
Um, I want to be the rising tide, right? I want to I feel as though and this podcast is kind of perfect for it of like I know so many fellow content creators that make amazing content that
Yeah.
just get overlooked. I know so many content creators that are undeniably better than like the XQCs, right?
Yeah.
Like I and yet they just are sitting there with like maybe 50 viewers max, maybe if they're lucky.
Yeah.
Um, and they deserve so much more. Uh, and they just it some of these content creators have been doing it for 8 years or 12 or whatever the hell, right? Um, and they just get overlooked the whole time, and they don't deserve that, and they deserve more. And I want to be a catalyst for that. I want to be a catalyst for growth, for change, that kind of thing. Uh, while also having a community of goofballs that of my own that will allow that to happen and will go around and follow. And it has happened a little. Like I whenever somebody in the community like starts streaming or something, like we all go over there and follow and hang out. Like it happens all the time. So like it's already started in that way.
Yeah.
But like me sitting here with I don't know, I mean also 50 viewers max, right?
Yeah.
Uh can only do so much and can only go so many places. So like I want to I'm not asking for thousands, I'm not asking for millions. I just want like a couple hundred uh people that are willing to net out and support other people. They don't need
Yeah.
to be at my stream all the time. They can go to Zombies Love Bacon and watch that stream. As
Yeah.
long as they're watching somebody that I feel is a quality content creator, they aren't watching somebody that is an XQC, right?
So we
Then
need like
like
a
I
Drew
view that as a
certified kind of
success.
badge at the bottom there, just like a
Yeah,
Drew
stamp.
certified. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I view that as a success. If they're going out and watching a Zombies Love Bacon over a person that will probably get canceled for being a groomer
Yeah.
or a pedophile in a
Yeah.
year or 2, then, like, that is a success. That's a win, right?
Yep.
And that is, like, really, at the end of the day, my overall goal, and it didn't always be. Like I said, in 2016, when I started doing this, it was just like, I'm playing these video games, I might as well do something with it. And
Yeah.
over time, it grew into a sense of community and like wanting to be the not the figurehead, but the push. I want to be the push, right? I
Yeah,
want to
you wanna be
bring
able to
people
motivate
elsewhere.
them and, mentor and just
Yeah.
like, I have so much nonsense in my head and, like, just silly things, like, people be like, "Oh, man, I really I don't know how to, like, get game keys and stuff like that." I'm like, "I can help you." It's really it takes no time at all off me, and it's the amount of times they're like, "Why would you bother?" It's like, "Because when you're big and successful, you'll remember me, right?
Yeah.
And we'll be great." It's the rising tide, raises all ships. It's too much. Like people, they just sort of get closed minded and they say, "This is my community and I do my thing and this is my thing," and stuff like that. That's boring. Like there's so many more
Yeah.
interesting people to talk to and do stuff. And the amount, like I'm in a really, very like my numbers aren't spectacular, nothing like that. But I've just been in the room with people and shook hands with people and met people and gone, "Oh, you can do things and you can help," and like and sometimes they'll come to me and they might say, like I had someone come to me, it was like a Call of Duty related thing. And they're like, "Oh, blah blah blah, you can get this and this and this." And I'm like, "I don't play Call of Duty." But these three people are excellent at it and they play it all the time. Talk to those people and
I do
like
that with brands all the time. If somebody offers me a game key and I'm like, I don't know if this would be for me. However, I know
yeah,
this person and it's
exactly.
for them.
Yeah, yeah, and 100%. And then that person gets something, opens the door for them. And like I'm happy because like they're happy. It's everyone's happy. There's no loss to that, and I feel like there's a lot of that sense of like community and in the whole content creation space. A lot of that's kind of lost and ends up in little pockets, and it's just not. It's not kosher. There's so many people that are so much
Yeah.
better at other things. Like I play anything, but at the same time, like if someone come to me and they say, "Oh, a really big fan of Kingdom Hearts," I'm like, "Don't talk to me. That person over there, super fan. They know everything about Kingdom Hearts. Like I've played it, great, but that person, they live it, and like, and that
And
they it's just yeah,
I feel like people get so businessy about it of like we call it like networking. What the fuck is networking? What the fuck you're talking to people? You can just talk to people,
yeah,
right? If I'm working at fucking McDonald's and like there's my coworker smoking outside, me talking to him isn't
networking.
networking. I'm just talking to this dude. right? So it's like,
Yeah.
what the fuck is networking? Don't be so businessy about it. You are a content creator. You
Yeah.
like this other person's content. Why would you not want your people that like your content to also like this other people's content? I have like a couple friends that I've known for a long time, you included, right?
Yeah.
Of like, I'll go into their stream and I might see somebody else that for you it's Red Burrito.
Yeah.
Uh he's a community member of both me and you, right? I go into your stream and it's not like oh, why isn't he watching my stream? It's that adds a flutter to my heart that I see him here. And I
Yeah.
have a couple other people that are elsewhere that like when I raid into that streamer or I go in there to watch and I see them chatting, it's like a fuck yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
win right there. That's a
Yeah.
win.
I
It's
I
like,
think like Red Burrito's a great one because I remember I went into a friend's stream and not only was he there, he was playing with them. Like he joined their game, and I'm just like,
that's
this guy
lovely.
is so good. Like it's
And
so
is he
rare.
networking? No, he's
Nah,
just talking to friends. Like
he
these
might
are just people. It's not parasocial.
he might
Like
be the
we're just
best
people.
networker out of all of us. I don't know.
Maybe he knows something that we don't.
Maybe it's, but yeah, it's I 100% agree. I love seeing like it's. I don't care like if I'm playing a game that's not for you and you'd rather go watch someone else. That's totally fine. But
Yeah.
what I want is like you not to you like you're not obligated to be here. And I want to make content that you want to come watch and you come watch it. That's great. If I'm playing something that's weird and you're not interested, totally fine. But what I love seeing is like I might be I don't know, let's say I'm playing GTA RP and like it's like people are like, nah, I'm not interested in that. That's fine. And then but then like I see them in someone else's stream because they're playing Pokemon and they're huge Pokemon fans. And it's great. It's like, yes, all of us together have got the biggest selection of content for you to watch, beaming at you live. Make take use of it. Don't just go to the biggest channel and think that that's going to be your best content because it's not the case. But I mean, it comes back to that our earlier point of discoverability and stuff like that. I feel like us as content creators there's a responsibility for us to share the good stuff because they're not going to find them otherwise. You go, hey, yeah,
Yeah.
I know that you like Pokemon. So and so's doing Pokemon. And I forget who I was talking to the other day, but like a friend of mine is doing Subnautica at the moment, and I saw a few people in the chat that I know that are huge Subnautica fans. I'm like, this guy's doing challenge mode Subnautica right now. If you want to go check him out, you should check him out. Just things like that, and to see them then go over there and follow them, and then see them in their chat afterwards and stuff like that, and like, it's a win-win for everyone. My mate's getting more views. He's doing a challenge thing. He's doing something different. He's got people that are interested in there, engaging with him on that thing. Like they went, it's just I don't understand why people were almost gatekeeping around, these are
Yeah.
my community members.
I feel like when Twitch started, right? And it's not even I know.
Hmm.
When Twitch started, it feels like they did a trickle down system where they expected these 40,000 XQC viewers. I'm just bagging on them. These 60,000 XQC viewers would trickle down to other people related to them. That didn't
Hmm.
fucking happen.
No.
And then all of these streamers created these rules of don't self advertise, and it's created an environment that is like don't talk about your stuff ever. And like partially I get it. Like don't go into a stream new and fresh and have your first time chat be, hey, I'm going live, right? Like
Yeah.
that's not a self-advertisement thing. That's a you're being a cunt, right?
Yeah.
So like
Yeah.
that's different. But like you're a person in this community and you've been here for a while and you are also a streamer or you also make podcasts or you make music or you do whatever the fuck, right? Talk about it. Like,
Yeah.
let us know. Link it. We're in these discords of these other people that are active in this community. Post your stuff. We
Yeah.
want to see, we want to know. And if you want, we'll give tips of how we think it could be done better or legitimate criticism because we're related to it and we know things of we think you could do it better. Like, eh, talk about it.
Yeah.
Show us. Like,
Yeah.
and that's why I love the trend that started of the shout out clip players. I
Yeah.
love that trend because it gives opportunities to show off another creator. It feels as though I seen somebody Nutty, love him. I love his
Yeah.
content, love
Yeah.
Nutty. He makes so much great stuff. He had a bad take recently of he talked about raids and he said something along. I'm paraphrasing, obviously. He said
Yeah.
something along the lines of, "When I raid you, I want this to be your elevator pitch. Show my viewers of why they should follow you. Don't sit here and talk to me about what I did on my stream." And I read that and I didn't reply to it because I don't want to start shit. But it's like I read that and I was like, that is so against what I believe. Because it's like I don't think the raid should be about the raidee. I think it
Mm.
should be about the raider, the person that brought in those people. Like I think that I need to prove to my audience of why you're a great person, of why I love your content. And the clip player is such an amazing way to do
It
that. Of
is,
like,
yeah.
I don't need to sell this to you. Here it is. Like, I
Yeah.
love that.
There's something there was like going around for a while where people are like, oh, you should have a script for when you get raided to explain yourself to you, blah 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 blah. I'm like, man, when people go looking for the script when I raid in, it's kind of a downer. I much rather be just shenanigans. I just want to come in
Yeah.
and I just want to get in. I want to come into the show and like I know that a great example is like
People do the
Nictacular's.
highlight reels.
Nitacular does a great thing where he'll just stop and like it goes to just chatting and it's a conversation. Like it's
Yeah.
like I've walked into the room. He's like, oh, so and so's here, you know, and it's so good because it comes in and like he explains everything. It's like this is so and so. They were playing this. How was that? That was great. Blah blah blah. And it's a conversation. Everyone's on the same page. Resume gameplay and off we go. And it's
And that works for his kind of content because he's like a very he's like ADHD the stream, right?
yeah
Because like
yeah
everything's popping off everywhere. Like he gets a raid, it pops in, it interrupts everything. He's away from the game, he's talking to you, and
yep.
then he gets back into the game. He plays for like 5 more minutes, and then he gets another raid and pull. I could not watch that man play Outer Wilds, but I love him so much because it works for him and the kind of content that he wants to make. Meanwhile, for someone like you or me, we're more gameplay focused, right? So like we just jump back into the game. We have the little clip thing, we take our moment, and then we get back into the game. Right?
Yep.
Like that works for us.
Yeah. But the
Meanwhile,
important thing
people
is,
like
yeah, the people
yeah,
when you
it just
rate in, they
depends on
go,
who you are.
yeah. So I'm so and so, and it's like, okay, what happened? We just killed all momentum of the
Yeah.
stream by coming in here. But I
I
totally get
hate
it.
the highlight reels. People do like you get a raid and you play like a highlight reel of your stream of a bunch of clips. Like I
Nah.
I get it. I get it. I would rather you just say hello to me.
Yeah.
But like, hey, again, it's not my content. This is your content. This is the stream that you want to run. Just because I'm not into it, you have dozens of other people there, hopefully, who
Mhm.
are into it. Or
Yeah.
you have dozens of people that will find you that will be into it. Like it's your content. You make the kind of content that you want to make. Just because I disagree with some of the choices that you made, that's okay. It's just
As
like
long as
it's
it
an all
works.
opinion thing. You know, everybody's got an opinion. Everybody's got an asshole, and I'm the asshole. Okay, like it's just how it is. Right? Like,
Yeah.
it's okay.
It's good
I'm a
variety.
man
We
of a
like,
lot of opinions.
yeah. It's good to have everyone do something a little bit different. I agree. But yeah,
Yeah, exactly.
and I suppose the point is just because someone who is making, how-to videos or is, whatever says, "Hey, you should do it this way," doesn't mean you have to do it that way. Like if you think you should do it a
Yeah,
different way, do it a different way. It's
try
up to
it out.
you. Do whatever you want.
And
Like
if it doesn't work, that's okay.
absolutely. Absolutely. Totally fine. We do need to wrap it up. We are definitely on time. We're not going for 3 hours. I know we've
Yeah.
threatened it a few times now, but we did need to wrap it
I
up.
think, TLDR, try something new. Uh, that might not work, but try something new. Do it for maybe 5 times, and then try something new again, and keep doing that. Don't quit your job. Keep your job. Stay at your job, right? Or find a job that is less time demanding. But survive. Have that be your number one priority. But if you want to make content, make content. Also, I've been around since 2016. I make video essays. I do others. Okay, cool. We talked about me a little bit.
No, we need to we've definitely talked about you. Yeah, no, but we do need to do the pitch. You do need to let people know where to find you. Because people this might be their first experience, the Drew Sun experience. So where can people
Okay,
find
go
you?
to okay. Hit I think it's Control T to make a new tab. I think right.
Okay, yeah, good
Uh,
start.
hit Control T, or if you're on phone, whatever. Go to Google. That's our goal. Okay, go to Google. Go to the search bar. Type in Drew Sun. There's two N's. Okay. It can have the space. It can't have the space. It doesn't matter. Okay. It doesn't matter. Type in Drew Sun. It's spelled like it sounds with two N's. Right. Ignore all the links that are about a Drew Dunn guy. and then you'll find me. And then you'll find me. All right? All right? It's as easy as that. But more importantly, infinitely more important than that, okay? You should hit the follow button to this podcast right here, or you
Oh,
should
okay.
hit subscribe, depending on what platform you're on. You can hit the like button, the star button, whatever you want. Okay. You've been listening for however the fuck long we've been going. It's been over an hour.
Mhm.
You've been listening to this podcast for this long. It is increasingly accurate that you enjoyed it. Okay. You had a good time listening to this podcast, or you wouldn't be here still. Therefore, if you aren't already following or subscribed, whatever platform you're on, do it. If you haven't pressed the like button, do it. If you have some sort of comment to say it. Or you can just do an emoji. It doesn't matter. Okay. All of this is analytic junk. Okay. It doesn't matter. And if you haven't seen whatever end screen thing is going to pop up for YouTube, click it. Like it's all of these things are analytic junk that helps out this content. Even if you don't want to do it usually, right? Just fucking do it. It helps out the analytics and it pushes it out because this podcast does exactly what I said of putting eyes on content creators that deserve attention. Therefore, this podcast, in my eyes, deserves attention. And you could give it that by simply subscribing, following, liking, so on and so forth. All the things that I said earlier. Do it. Also buy my merch. Okay, cool.
Look, I don't think there's anything I could say to follow that up. So I'm just going to say thanks for coming on the show. I appreciate it. And yeah, do all the
Thanks for
things that
having me.
Drew
I'll
said.
come on
It's
again in 10 years.
10 years. All right. Let's yep, we'll pencil it in. We'll do it live. We'll do it live at PAX.
Yeah, okay. Sure.
Sweet as. All right. If you have been listening, make sure you leave a comment. More importantly, leave a comment of any creators that you recommend that we should ask to be on the show. And I will send them a message. They might reply, they might not. Who knows? I'll do it though. And yeah, make sure you like and subscribe and do all those other lovely things. And thanks for listening. See you all later. Goodbye.
I love you. Mwah!